This is another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Joe Connor.
I'm JT Harker from Joe DeVinny's living room.
Straight up. Shout out to Joe DeVinny. What's up, baby? Okay, so today we have a very special guest. This is one of the day oneers. This is one of the guys who had a big impact on many people probably don't know. It had a big impact on my career on the business side. He was one of the first artists that I worked with. One of my first internships was working for the company that managed him. Shout out Destiny Management.
Wow.
Come on,
Destiny
bringing back
Management.
the name. Now we going back, okay?
Word.
Straight up. So he is a renowned artist out of Philadelphia, coming to us by way of Florida right now. You in Florida right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
Okay.
Yep.
So he coming to us by way of Florida right now. But he's Philly's own. If you live in Philly, if you know the Philly music scene, you know this guy. You know how respected he is. You know what he did when he was in Philly. He's respected on both the gospel and the secular circuits. He's shared stages with all types of great artists, including a lot of he started in gospel, a lot of big dope gospel artists, John P. Key, J.J. Harrison, Kiara Shear, The Truth, Ty Tribbett. He has expanded onto many different avenues of life. He is now a certified holistic nutritionist and the owner of Jay's Vegan Flavors, but he is backstage with us today. He is James Frager. What's up, baby? Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, man. What's good?
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Pleasure, man. Wow. The level of nostalgia that just like went through my body. You know what I mean? Like, dude, oh gosh.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute since we got to kick it with each other.
Sure.
I've been in LA and he's now in Florida. So tell us a little bit about where you're at right now and what you're up to. Like I said, I just told them about the you're in the holistic vibe. I'll definitely want to know about that and how you got into that and how you like it. Me and JT are both try to be on our health kick as much as possible. Help us to help us with some tips to stay fit in the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
And then a little bit about like what life in the pandemic has been for you and how it's changed your day to day and what that looks like now.
Well, like I said, man, when you gave that introduction, it's kind of gave me that nostalgia. Like, wow, we at an early age, right? We had our feet and our hands into business, right? It was a music business, but we had our feet and our hands in it. So we didn't realize it back then. And now that you kind of reminded me of, that, not that I would really forget too far off, but it just takes me back to how young I was, but how ahead of our time we were as well. I was like really young. I remember selling out the Gershman Wide Theater.
Which was I would never forget that show.
So the first one was in 06. Right. And the second one was in 09. And just being that young, that young, in my mind, you're never thinking about age or nothing like that. You just like, yo.
You're just doing. Yeah.
So, the whole experience is really dope. That part of my life is really dope. I, learned a lot from it and I've become a lot from it.
Yeah.
Now fast forward, to the day, I'm a man that wears a lot of different hats, jack of all trades. But I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. So that's one of the things that I'm certainly into. Like if we were to see my kitchen, I have like all types of herbs in there, man. It's just like, you name it, but you name it. If there's something that you need to deal with your body, I have the herb, or the minerals for it. So it's dope to be into that now. And I'm free spirited. So whenever I feel like doing music, I'll do music. I'll just shoot up to Georgia and record or whatever. Which I'm feeling like getting back into it. So
I mean, we need a new record from you. I mean, at any given time. That'll be dope. So what got you into the holistic vegan route? Like what got you into that?
Man, I think it was a turning point in my life where I was starting to get like a lot of like information about natural ways of kind of, helping the body or whatever. ways that I never knew ever existed, one, or at least on the level that I started to study it on. And then for me personally, I lost my uncle to diabetes when he was young. They took his I literally remember it was like they took his toe first, and they took his foot, and then they took his leg, and then it took his life.
Wow.
Right. And this was the uncle that I was really close with, my mother's brother.
Yeah.
And so that running in my family, go to the doctor, say you got to watch your sugar because this happens. It's in your bloodline. My mother dealt with diabetes as well.
Yeah.
They told her she'll be on pills for the rest of her life, medicines for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't trying to have that. That's my mom.
Straight up.
And so right at that time is when I really started just getting serious about learning more about the holistic, natural side of things. And it was just like this burst of, I don't know, man. I just absorbed into a whole nother space and zone in life.
Yeah.
Where I was like engulfed. And I'm talking about studying like, biochemistry and microbiology and human anatomy.
Yeah.
So when I would do my lectures and stuff on live, it wasn't just, oh, hey man, I know about some herbs and they say that this does this up for your high blood pressure. No.
Yeah.
I'm like studying science.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And getting into the terms even that the medical field use. So that was a turning point for me, man. I wanted to make sure my family was good. And at that point, everything just clicked. And I just started learning. Just went into like a zone.
So tell us a little bit about James vegan flavors. Like how did that come about? Are you chefing it up now?
Well, man, it's been a while since. So when I was living in Georgia, when I first moved to the South about 3 years ago, that was a big part of what I was doing. I was actually doing 5 and 7 day meal plans. So part of getting certified was I was now able to actually write out meal plans for people or for clients, giving them the proper fats and the proper carbs and all those different things. And so once I got into that and had the basic understanding and structure of like a line of meal plan, I went kind of that next level, saying, okay, let me now go to like the alkaline vegan side where like everything is made from nature, from scratch.
Yeah.
And so what made me different as a company was everything I made was handmade from scratch. If I made the ketchup, or if I made the barbecue sauce, or if I made the pizza dough, or if I made the cheese, or everything was from scratch and from nature. So I put a lot of time and effort into it. You know what I'm saying? But it takes a lot out of you. So in regards to being able to kind of franchise and make it and expand it, those are conversations that I'm having now. So I have a business called HSOL, Healing Style of Life.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin are officially LLC. So that's our business. But with that, we go to Jamaica, do a whole 7-day trip. I implement my teaching on health and nutrition. We already on the island. So you get in the sour sop and all of these, tropical fruits that are like super medicinal for the body. And I'm able to teach that stuff over there. It's just kind of dope.
That's epic. I'm gonna have to hit you up about some stuff because the older I get, the less I want to do anything over the counter. Like I'm like, I give me all the natural stuff, give me the probiotic shots and the greens, because I can't with the side effects and all the other weird stuff that they putting in the medicine now. And it's my experience that the natural stuff works a lot faster and better than a lot of the stuff. Like I had a crazy like weird chest rash that popped up, and I was trying all types of topical stuff and it wasn't going anywhere. And then the fiance was like, here, she gave me like this oregano oil or something, and she was like, just try this. And I'm like,
right.
I'm just like walking around smelling like pizza, but I'll try it. And, I did, and it went away like that. And so I'm like, I'm on I'm down with the holistic kick.
For sure. Everything's from nature. Like the human body is made up of 102 to 103 minerals. But people don't know, like the human body, we're made up of gold, copper, magnesium, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, right? All like think about it. The material of your bones is different than the material of your skin.
Right.
Right. So different minerals make up your skin, more of an elastic kind of, fatty acid kind of mineral.
Yeah.
But your bones take more of a chalky, that's why you need calcium to build the bones.
Yeah.
Which is, you can get that better from plants than you could, but that's another conversation.
Right. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It runs deep. Yeah.
It runs deep, but at the end of the day, like that's the dope thing about eating natural, because essentially you're eating yourself. You're eating of the material of your body, and that's how you really start to build that heart back up, or you start to build your endocrine system, or your thyroids, or your kidneys, or your liver. You get to rebuild that area when you're intaking the material that those things are made of as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep.
You get what I'm saying? That's dope, man.
Yeah, I haven't tried the vegan. JT, did you tell me you did the vegan thing once?
Man, when I lived in Hawaii, I went raw vegan for like,
oh, dope.
I went vegan and then raw vegan probably for like 6 months, which was an experience. I got really sick and I had to take time off of work, which was near the beginning of me singing professionally. So I missed, was singing 6 nights a week and had to miss like almost a month probably of that.
So what happened? Why'd you get sick?
Man, it was weird. It was like some weird thing that I was losing my voice, but I also just felt like really tired and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then even doctors didn't really know what was going on. I actually went to a Chinese doctor and he had invented his own. First of all, he gave me some herbs and stuff and like some of his own medication that he made. But then he also had invented his own acupuncture machine that was actually connected. It was electric. So he had made his own machine to shoot the currents into the needles. And I went to him and within like 3-4 days was feeling way better.
Oh, wow.
But he said, and he barely spoke English, but the way he explained it to me was like, basically I had an infection, some just in my body, like throughout my body. And so after that, I got just really on this health kick and I went all organic. And then I went vegetarian and then I went vegan and then I went raw vegan, which is really hard to do because I mean, you have to, it's a lot of preparation and a lot of ways to figure it out to make it interesting because otherwise you get really bored with food. So I did that for a while. And then recently I went vegan for like a couple months of COVID, just lose some weight and it worked and whatever. But yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people swear by it, man. The plant-based, all that.
Yeah. It's definitely a wave. And it definitely runs deep. I mean, it's so much to learn. Like he was saying, getting into the science of it and everything like that. It's so much to learn. So that's dope. And you got a new person that's gonna bug you about some stuff. So,
dude, all day, man. I answer all types of questions. It's cool. I mean, I appreciate it because it's like for me, it's an opportunity to help us become teachers of our own. Because I'd rather teach someone to be a kind of a teacher in a sense, or teach someone to be knowledgeable as to why they're like, this is good or that is good, and different thing, getting these kind of fats or whatever. Even also based on your haplotype, like the climate from which your body is natural to helps you on a scientific level to like some people can eat more fats. Get their fats from like more like meats and stuff like that. It's dope. Think of like a lion. You ever wonder why lions and gorillas and all of those, they don't need a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Right. They don't go to the vet, but our cats do because they're domesticated. They're not eating in their natural habitat. But the lions, their paws and walking on the ground in the dirt. So they don't need a dentist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Okay. The blood type thing's big too. I went on a date the other day, and the girl actually gave up meat only because she went and got her blood type test, and they said, "Yeah, you shouldn't be eating any meat except she still eats fish." So she's basically pescatarian. Said she feels great when she eats fish.
Exactly.
Fine, but that's for her blood type. And I similarly, if I'm eating too many grains, if I don't watch like grains and stuff, I feel bloated. I feel lethargic. So yeah, the blood type thing's big too.
I definitely want to do that because like he was saying, like the diets is really there is no one diet fits all, right?
No, absolutely not.
So you really got to figure out what works for you and then run with that. You buried the lead though, JT. You went on a date? What's up? Like, you just gonna blow by that? Like,
I went on a date. Yeah.
How was that?
That's even have a second date.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So JT single. Joe,
yeah, I'm engaged, bro. In a couple months.
You're engaged.
Yeah.
Couple months. You tie in a knot.
Yeah. We
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm single, man. I'm out here in Florida. Yeah.
Well, then be protected, because Florida is you ain't gonna be single for too long in Florida. It's a lot going on down there.
Nah, I'm not even in. I'm in like Gainesville. It's like,
oh, okay. You're not like Miami Beach, Florida.
No, I'm not. I'm like more of you probably central to north, really.
Oh, okay.
Than anything. Then you got central, which is like Orlando. Then you keep going further. You got Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, so you're pretty safe.
Yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe zone. But now you.
Yeah. Let's get into it. So, it's a lot going on right now, especially in the NBA with all of the trades and, with the trade deadline happening, and then the buyouts. The buyout market actually got a lot of attention this season, more so than the past couple seasons that I can remember. We talking about buyout guys. Normally that's like an after effect. You might hear one or two guys get bought out and it make a difference. But it seemed like this year it was like the next big phase of, it was like trade deadline and then this. So Lamarcus Aldridge signed with the Nets. Andre Drummond signed with the Lakers. The Nets are probably going to sign Thanos next, and who knows who else.
Right.
They've just, they're trying to build an all-star team. And so it is what it is at this point. So I guess we can look at it in a vacuum of the Drummond signing for the Lakers versus the Aldridge signing for the Nets. Like which signing do you think was better and will be more impactful moving forward?
Yeah, they're both interesting. I mean, it's two guys, and I could be wrong on this. Like some of these guys, like I watched a lot of Aldridge when he was younger, but he's a little bit older now. He's a little bit more advanced. So I can't even say from having watched him a whole lot where he's at in his career, how good he still is. Blake Griffin looks kind of a little better than advertised. He looks like he's got more pep in his step than we thought.
Yeah.
Aldridge was averaging, I think, 13 points a game. He's a big body. We know he knows how to play. He's been in a great Spurs system. That's a great move. Andre Drummond, I think, is a little more a little closer to his prime still, right?
Yeah, Andre. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Andre's 28. He's young. You know what I mean? He's it's so much upside.
Yeah.
I think with the Andre Drummond, with the Andre Drummond trade, or not trade, but with Andre Drummond being added to them, I think it's like, when you look at what the Nets are doing and you look at, the Blake Griffin pickup, you look at the Aldridge pickup, if you ask me, it looks like KD is doing the same thing he did when he was over there with the Warriors, trying to build that.
Yeah.
Golden State, trying to get, you're trying to put all of these, guys together. I don't know.
He need all the Infinity Stones, all of them.
Exactly. But it lets you know how much the rest of the league understands that LeBron James
is still here.
With him and AD, and they just added Drummond. I think they know, man. They know that that's a very, very, very deadly combination.
They were debating on TV this morning whether or not, because Bronny said Bronny had retweeted. This is LeBron's son, Bronny, had retweeted something where somebody said they doing all of this to stop a 36-year-old in year 18. And then one of the guys, might have been Skip Bayless, probably went at it and said, like, this has nothing to do with LeBron, blah, 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 blah. So there was this whole debate thing about it. This clearly has everything to do with LeBron. Yeah. This is one of those situations where he did this after LeBron won when he went to Golden State, and he's doing it again after LeBron won when going to the Nets, and then getting James Harden was like before we even get to Blake, because for real, the real the real test of whether or not somebody has been even paying attention to the NBA this season is these people's reactions to the signing of Blake Griffin and Lamarcus Aldridge. Neither one of them was moving the needle for their teams at all this past season.
Right.
Lamarcus was okay. He was 13-4, and Blake was 11-5. And we talked about the other week, Blake was 11-5 playing 30 minutes a game. So it's not like he was coming in for 5 and 10, 15 minutes. And he was playing the majority of the game, scoring 11 points a game and 5 rebounds, right? So this is Blake Griffin and Lamarcus Aldridge as a signing is epic if it's 2012, but it's not. So the reality of it is it was overkill. Like, cause now, it's like now you go get, after having James Harden, you go get another MVP. Now James Harden, and we talked about the Philly trade and them regretting not getting James Harden. They should regret it now because people talk about him now as an MVP candidate, right? On a team that already has a league MVP and another MVP caliber type player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, what you just said though is actually, and obviously anyone who watches this show knows that I'm going to disagree with this stuff. But I mean, LeBron's still great, but I'm taking the skip side of this. Like, they're trying to win championships. So LeBron just won a championship. So if we're going to say they're trying to dethrone LeBron, that's fine. In my opinion, they need to worry about getting through the West before we're even talking about somebody in the East trying to beat the Lakers, because the West is looking really tough right now. Drummond is the strongest pickup for sure out of those three guys we just said. And what you just said, I agree with, and then I disagree with part of it. Blake and Aldridge are way past their prime. They're not all-star pickups. Those two guys are not even close to being all-stars, but they're nice pickups because they're veteran guys. They both have won a lot of games. They know how to help a team win. And neither one of those guys now has to even be, when playoff time comes around, really even the third or fourth option, other than when they're out there and some of the other guys are on the bench. So I like the pickups for that reason. We already know they needed more depth. So now some of these guys that have been starting can be coming off the bench. So that's a big help. But I mean, they're trying to win. They're trying to beat everybody. I mean, they need that help maybe to just even get out of the East. You know what I'm saying? Because the Sixers and the Bucks and some other teams, they might not get through those teams if they don't have some more talent around those core three guys. But, and I don't know, I haven't checked, but I didn't know KD got hired as their GM. Is KD picking up on
KD is recruiting these guys.
We know KD is. Come on, man.
Bro.
We know KD
because he did it. Yeah, 100%. KD is recruiting these guys. And the thing is, the Lakers won a championship last year. So by default, they're going, this is about LeBron. By default. Like, even if now KD has already proven, if you follow his Twitter, he's already proven that LeBron lives rent-free in his head 24/7. So, but let's take that part out of it, right? Literally by default, because they are the champions, everybody is gunning for them, right? Not to mention that the East is them and the Sixers, right? This is not to overlook the Western Conference, because like the Western Conference is definitely way tougher than the East. But this is definitely within the context of KD tired of being second fiddle, and every time he goes up against LeBron needing to stack the deck, because when it was equal footing, and if it was a mano a mano, the teams were equal. He was 17-5 against LeBron James all time before he started getting all the Infinity Stones and going up against them and going to the Warriors and going to the stack Nets. So it definitely has everything to do with it for KD, at least.
So if the Clippers won it last year, they wouldn't be trying to stack their deck to be better than the Clippers and everybody else. I
said the Lakers are, by default, they're going after the Lakers because they're
right.
The team
but that's what I'm saying, I guess, by default. But like Bronny, I mean, Bronny's.
But of course, it has to do with LeBron, because we know the context of he did this in Golden State. He did this in Golden State, and then bitched him on about not getting the respect that he wanted after he won. He said that. He said,
"Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That's why But KD, he has to understand he's never going to get that respect.
Never.
If you're only going to teams, or you're building teams, basically super teams,
right?
In a fashion that you are, like, by default, I mean, to me, by default, you're not going to get credit for it.
And he has it.
Will it be another? Will it be a ring? Yeah. Steph has rings, and other teams that has beat LeBron have rings, but the level of respect that some of these superstars are getting because of these rings are different. It's a different level.
All rings aren't created equal.
They're not.
All rings.
They're
Robert
not.
Horry got 7 rings, but his rings aren't created the same as Michael Jordan 6. All rings are not created equal.
The interesting thing with KD, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, Joe, I personally think in his head he gets a lot less respect than he actually gets. He may not get as much respect as LeBron, but there are a lot of people, NBA analysts, coaches, all sorts of people that say all the time, they're like, in my head, KD's right there with LeBron. Like, I think he gets a lot of respect, but in his mind, because he doesn't get all the respect, he doesn't get any respect. It's like, it's not all or nothing, dude. Like, you're seen as arguably the best player in the freaking league.
You're really talented. He's the best scorer for sure. Yeah,
let's just go for rings, go for records, go for whatever you got to do. But like, get over the LeBron thing. Like, you can't, everyone's different. You know what I mean? You're seen as a great player, a great basketball.
Yeah, but it's the LeBron is so polarizing that even outside of that, like, these guys in their minds, it'll almost be like it's a thing that you live with. Like you said, Joe, he's living in, KD's head rent free. And a lot of it is the polarizing things that LeBron does too. And if like when you turn on SportsCenter, it's LeBron. Like, how many years straight like has LeBron been in the in the front, on the front page and in the head of the news? When you still got KD, you still got James Harden, you still have Steph, you still have all these superstars who they're like there, but they're not LeBron type of there. And I know that plays on a lot of their thoughts, man. It has to. And I think a lot of them resent LeBron for that. Not that it's like,
I think so
not
too.
like personal like that, but I think it's a certain level of resentment. Like, dude, will you just leave already?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Retire,
I think having Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the same team is letting the resentment like fester. Like, it's like literally stirring the pot. Like, they can stir each other's pot of resentment, because I think there's something to Kyrie feeling like he didn't get enough shine, even though he won championships that he would have never have won by himself in Cleveland. I think there's
Did he win one?
Yeah. I'm saying he won, but he would have never have won by himself in Cleveland. I mean, we see what his record was in Cleveland. And so I think that there's putting them together is almost like having two bitter women after a divorce going out for brunch, and they drunk off mimosas, and all they gonna do is talk about how his dick is small and his house was little. He ain't had no money. He was broke anyway. Like, they feed it. That's what I see them doing, like in the locker room.
That's the other thing too, is like KD or any of these guys, like, who have already got big brands, of like, you want to do more, you want to be more polarizing because of what you're doing off the court and outside of just basketball. Drop just 8 of your 12 burner accounts where you debate who's the best basketball. Go work at other things. Like, who has the time to sit around and debating with people about, on a burner?
Yeah, they're especially these days, man. Like, there are ways to build your brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, outside of just the realm of basketball or the realm of sports, you can build your brand in certain ways where you could connect it. But most of those guys, what are they like? KD is boring. Like, he's not like he's not a fun. It's just not a. You know what I mean? It's just not the dude that's like, okay, like, that's a brand I want to buy into. Like, come on.
Yeah. One of the other big acquisitions, I guess, to some, was Rajon Rondo to the Clippers. It was actually a trade. So they traded Lou Williams for Rajon Rondo. Now, what was your first reaction when you saw this trade?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I'm a diehard Bron fan, right? But that trade there is scary. If LeBron, I mean, obviously, if we're all considering that they come back like fully healthy as far as LeBron and AD goes, that's still kind of up in the air as well. But if they're not fully healthy, right?
It's a wrap. I mean, they're not. They gotta be. The West is too thick. They gotta be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you add Rondo, who I have a ton of respect for. you know, just as a man, as a ball player, you know what I mean? He approaches the game that would he approaches the game that kind of reshapes the mindset of a team. And I think that's what he would do over there. And I think he would bring some things together. So that would be scary. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. That people gearing up, man. They know what they got to go through when it comes to you have to beat LeBron. Like you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like they've learned all these years, you have to do whatever you need to do to beat LeBron at the end of the day. As you got to go through LeBron. So but Jimmy Butler said it. Remember? Jimmy Butler said it last year playoffs. He was like, hey, I've been in the league for X amount of years. Like, no matter what, like it's almost been there. You gotta go through Bron.
I like the Rajon Rondo pickup, not at the expense of Lou Williams. I don't like, to me, that was a big, I think people are forgetting forgetting what Lou Williams was to that team.
That offense was,
we can pull up the stats real quick. Stats aside, this was a team that already struggled in clutch. They're bottom of the league in clutch time scoring. And it has been an Achilles heel for them all year, right? This has been a guy who's been able to closed games for them in past years. And he was that guy for them a lot of times this season. You lose that shooting and you don't replace it, right? You 12 points per game, but he has more nights where he's, he can go off. We all know Lou Williams can go off at any one night, win you a game, get you 30, get you 20 something. That's not Rajon Rondo's calling card. Everything else is pretty much a wash. As far as them, but I think that scoring, the scoring, because you already know that you can't really rely on playoff P because he turns into pandemic P in the playoffs, or just the health factor in it by itself. Like you really don't know what that's going to be like. So Lou Williams coming off the bench was big for them, especially after losing Trez Harrell, who was also big off the bench for them in providing points. So them losing both of those guys and not really replacing them is, I think, going to be an issue. I think I like the pickup, but I don't like it at the expense of Lou Williams.
Yeah, that's on paper, I don't love it either. It just seems like you're losing a ton of offense.
Yeah,
I know the way of thinking is bring Rondo in. I mean, it freed up LeBron during the playoffs last year. It could free up Kawhi, but I mean, you need offense.
Yeah.
Right. Like playoff P, if he even exists. I mean, so now you've got two really good scorers. Why are you giving up that many points off the bench from a guy that has shown he can get it done when you need him to? I don't know. That's a weird.
I mean, Rondo, let's not forget though, guys. Rondo put some good numbers up last year. You know what I mean? Like he gave like some good offense. Remember that jump shot came back all of a sudden. Like we haven't seen Rondo shoot like this in a long time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So no, it's not Lou, it's not Lemon Pepper Lou.
Yeah, but it's not a knock on Rondo. It's I think people are sleeping on what Lou Williams brought to that team and Trez as well.
I mean, I agree. I mean, not me personally. I know offensively I hate when he has the ball.
Who,
you
Lou?
know, I hate when Lou had the ball. Like when he's playing my guy.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, his defense is nowhere near as good as Rondo's defense is. He's not controlling the offense and kind of giving that level of cohesiveness and order, and even to be honest with you, they say Kawhi is not like an alpha dog type of player. So if he's not an alpha dog and you make him comfortable, you probably get pull the best out of Kawhi and even Paul George, to be honest. So I think Rondo brings that level of presence that I don't think necessarily a Lou Williams did on that side from a spirit sense. And also they had some, we know that they've had some gripe between the old Clippers and the new Clippers. Like Lou Williams and them really didn't like the whole Kawhi thing. And so I think it was.
But when you talk about the gripe thing, you also bringing in a guy who didn't want to be there. They could have signed Rondo in the offseason and Rondo turned them down and went to Atlanta.
Yeah, Rondo, it's he was a different player in the playoffs. That's interesting. He's almost like the modern day Tom Brady, where he can look normal all
Yeah,
season, but then
exactly.
playoff time comes around and all of a sudden he's Rondo of like,
Playoff
12 years
Rondo.
ago. So
Yeah.
it's a nice, I mean, if he plays like he did last playoffs, that's a great, it's probably
Out,
right.
dude.
It's
I
But
was
but
so
but that's a big if to me, because
an
I
if.
think we overlook how people look when they play with LeBron James, right? All of a sudden, people leave
you got
Bron
a
and,
point. You got a point
everybody
there.
gets paid. Everybody, they hand out paychecks to guys leaving Bron like Oprah handing out gifts. It's like you get 12 million, you get 14. All of a sudden, everybody wanted JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard after they played with Bron. The same thing happened with Avery Bradley. So I think people sleep on that a little bit. Rajon Rondo is great, but he's not going to play with LeBron James again.
But we got to remember the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? Like Rondo,
but that was years ago.
It was, but he still has that. I mean, you make a really good point though in regards to the way LeBron makes players better. And look, we don't know what Rondo did this season. Nobody was paying attention.
He didn't do nothing. I was paying attention. Let me tell you, he didn't do anything. That's why they traded. They probably packed Lou Williams back for him and brought him back. Like Rondo wasn't doing anything this season. Go look at his numbers. He did nothing in Atlanta. So that's what I mean. This is my point.
I see what you're saying. I get your point.
It's a big if. I like his veteran leadership and I love what he did last year. But I think going into a locker room where, by all accounts, he didn't want to be there. He could have signed with the Lakers just a couple months ago. I mean, with the Clippers just a couple months ago. So by all accounts, he didn't even want to be there. And then he gets traded there, not coming off a good stint of games in Atlanta. So
the personalities could be interesting too. Rondo and Kawhi personality, that could be an interesting. It could be great. Could not be great.
Could not be great. What do you think about the Victor Oladipo trade to Miami?
He just hasn't been the same, man.
Yeah.
But I think it's a solid pickup. I think he would be a solid pickup for anybody.
I wanted him. I wanted the Lakers to go after him, but I couldn't make the trade work. But you saw JT. I figured out the trade. I got on the trade machine on ESPN.com, and it was just I had to give up too much.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't gotten a good look at Oladipo since he went to Houston, so I don't really know. But I mean, again, if you're looking at him to be the second, third option, then it's not, on a team that's trying to contend, then it's maybe not the move. But if he's just a guy that can score and fill it up when you need him to, and you've already got your other core group, which Miami does, that could be a nice move.
I think the older version of Oladipo, like when he was like, it was the Pacers. I think that version of that's the version of Oladipo where I feel as though he would be a threat.
Yeah.
If he was going somewhere.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't. It's weird, man. He just hasn't quite been the same guy after that injury.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a solid pickup for anybody, but I just don't know. You know what I mean? It's like one of those.
So Victor, I think he hasn't been surrounded by great teams, I think. And so I wanted him on the Lakers because the LeBron factor, right? Getting him, I think he would turn into an all-star. He would turn into James Harden on the Nets to me if we brought him over. Because I watched those Pacers series and I saw what he did, and I thought that he was always vastly underrated. And I saw how he carried those teams. And he battled. I think till today he slept on. I think because he just been in not great situations. And so it'll be interesting to see this situation in Miami will tell us a lot more, right? It'll bring up, because now you got a great team, you got a great front office. And so now you have every reason to see him get the respect that he deserves. He's 20-5 on the year with 4 assists. I like when he's healthy. I like what he's doing, and I thought he would have brought a lot to the Lakers. But to see him go to Miami, I like the move for Miami. I think Miami has had a weird year, but I'm eager to see what they do in the postseason. So I think it'll be cool. What do you guys think about Aaron Gordon to Denver?
You know, I was just gonna bring that up. Like, Orlando's going to full rebuild.
Yeah,
I mean, they just got rid of their 2 best players.
Yeah, they're done.
I mean, it's so weird. But I mean, I think it's a great pickup for Denver because, like we talked about, they needed something. He's not a replacement. Like, one move that nobody talked about, but we talked about it on the show because I had no idea who this guy was, is Jeremy Grant that Denver had last year. And he was way better than I even thought. But you could see it on the court as the 3rd or 4th option, all the different things, because Michael Porter was kind of emerging.
Yeah.
So he just Grant just kind of did everything else. You need me to score here? Cool. I'll rebound here. I'll guard the other team's best player here. He was just doing everything. I was like, man, and they were mentioning during the playoffs that he was going to be a free agent. He wasn't going to be back. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, that's going to be a big loss because Denver looks like the next team right now. But this dude is kind of that glue guy they really need. And now he's playing like an all-star in Detroit. So they needed a pickup like Gordon. They needed an athletic guy to kind of go with Joker and what they're doing. You know, is it the move that's going to put them over? I don't know. Michael Porter hasn't looked as good as I thought he was going to. Bull's not ready yet, but that's a really nice pickup. I was hoping the Warriors would get Aaron Gordon. My Dubs.
They were talking about him. I
like Aaron Gordon.
Going for him. Yeah.
Shout out to Aaron and his whole family from where I'm from, too, Bay Area, Midi High School.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, I think Denver. I think last year was that run, that special run. I think that we were going to see from Denver.
Yeah.
I don't know if we repeat the same. You know, you got a lot of young guys, like you said. Michael Porter's coming into himself. He got better, but I think I know he was never that good when he was over in Philly. You know what I mean?
He wasn't.
But I'll say this though, I think that special spark that we were going to see from them was last year. I think now, they've gotten another year under their belt.
Yeah,
they have that experience, but I don't know. You don't meet a lot of young players who continue to learn from like going that far and like losing like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes things come in, your guys change, mentality change, and rebuilds happen. And when you're dealing with younger teams. So I think they're going to be obviously good in the West, but I just don't see that special spark that we got from them last year happening.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in the playoffs, because I think depending on the matchups, like you saw, they could really upset some NBA playoff brackets. We can talk about the March Madness brackets, but they can definitely upset somebody depending on the matchups. I think they're dangerous in the playoffs.
The interesting thing with them is we always forget, especially when we have two crazy seasons, like no crowds. It's totally different. Like I'm a strong believer that the standings would not be the standings if we were just back to normal. For what I don't know what the reason is, but it's just it's changing everything. You know, teams are normally some of the top teams are kind of middle of the pack. Miami had to go from like almost last place to wherever they're at now, 4th or 5th seed in the East.
Yeah.
It's just a weird time. But Denver is kind of that team that can finish 5th to 8th in the West, and they're still going to be really dangerous because that dude Murray, come playoff time, all bets are off.
And Jamal Murray's a beast. I mean, he's a beast, man. Jokic,
Yeah, and Jokic, when the game slows down in the playoffs and everything's a little slower and defensively everyone's more set and more ready, Joker's going to be even that much better because now, you know how it is, man. You get to the playoffs and it's like, okay, Tim Duncan looks great all year. Now we're in the playoffs, totally different game. Now Tim Duncan is running everything. You know what I mean? It's just, so I could see that happening with them, especially with the Suns team that looks great but may not really be ready. Probably not. The Jazz are really good, but are they really ready to make a run? I would put Denver over both those teams, even though their record isn't as good. So they still can be dangerous. And we don't believe in the Clippers until the Clippers show that they can be something. So it still be the Lakers in Denver this year. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me. I don't sleep on Denver, and I think the Aaron Gordon pickup is gonna be big.
That's a nice move because that's like everyone's making a big fuss about how the Nets got Blake Griffin. No, Denver got Blake Griffin.
Right. No, Denver got Blake Griffin. That's exactly what happened.
So we'll see.
For sure. Okay,
y'all think Chris Paul? You think Chris Paul is going to? I mean,
I love Chris Paul.
Man, that's looking scary over there, man. It's looking scary.
He could be the difference. I don't love that Ayton, though, has not turned into what everyone was hoping he was going to be, because I think come playoff time again, he's Ayton. He's kind of a limited skilled big guy, like very athletic big guy. And now you've got an older Chris Paul, who we know he's capable, and Devin Booker that really got to kind of do everything and set Ayton up along with everybody else. I mean, it could work. I don't know if that's the recipe, but maybe. But Chris Paul, that guy, Chris Paul he's got to go down as one of the most underrated greats of all time.
I think Chris Paul is going to be big for them in the playoffs. I think that's the secret weapon for them in the playoffs.
He absolutely will be. They're going to
I wouldn't be surprised if they caught somebody too. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be, especially the way the seeding is this year. You might have the Lakers fall way back and all these other weird teams at the top. It's going to get weird in the playoffs this year. I think,
nobody wants
to play. But no, like I just don't see. And with that being said, I just don't see anyone messing with LeBron James, AD.
I didn't go that far. No. I didn't go that far. But I think that it'll get. I think we'll see another Clippers type thing. Not saying that the Clippers will get bounced again in the second round, but I think we'll see something like that happen once or twice this playoffs. I think I wouldn't be surprised if that.
So, do you guys think Drummond? Like, do you think? Like, let me ask you guys: what do you think or feel that Drummond? What type of threat to the West has Drummond now become? Like, what are other teams saying now in regard, and how close do you have it now than what you may have had it before now that they got Drummond?
I think that, speaking of the Nuggets, I think Denver is pissed that the Lakers got Drummond, because that was the thing where they didn't really have anybody for Jokic, and then you lose Dwight and you lose JaVale. And I know Jokic was over there licking his fingers like barbecue chicken finna come up. And now they get Drummond, and so now you can throw him and AD and waves at him to help out. I think that's where it's really gonna count.
Who, by the way, does everything better than both the White and JaVale.
Big upgrade.
Everything. Like, he's ridiculously good. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, dude would give you 20 and 18. You know, like,
he has the most double-doubles.
Crazy.
He has the most double-doubles so far in NBA history, and the most 30-20 games.
Yeah, and he's that guy that you really like, because he doesn't really need the ball that much, because obviously LeBron, it's going to be LeBron's hands. AD needs the ball. They're going to play off each other. Drummond can kind of be like your
clean.
I mean, he rebounds almost like a Dennis Rodman. Like, he's a big,
strong,
and then he's the kind of dude that'll score 20. Like, if you played him in high school, you wouldn't even realize he scored a bucket and you end up with 25 points.
Yeah,
like, just smooth. You don't have to feed him. You don't have to worry about it. And that's really, really valuable.
Yeah,
when you win other talented team. Yeah, I think it makes them that much more dangerous, because now you want them to be all healthy, but now they have a little slip room. Now, like,
okay, I got you. Yeah.
100%, but because they got Andre, now they can kind of get over the hump, even though they're not, because otherwise you need both LeBron and AD fully 100%, or they're not going to win.
Exactly.
Right? So you get to not have to be perfect every night. So
exactly. Exactly.
Huge move.
Yeah. Charles Barkley frequently says things that makes everybody scratch their head. He continued that trend again for me. Now, some you guys might agree with him on this take, but he was talking about the MVP race and where he sees it and where he sees James Harden in it. Here's a little bit of what he said.
Right now, no disrespect to LeBron or Giannis or anybody, James Harden might be the best basketball player in the world, period.
Wow, I was not expecting you to say that. And
I say he is the most awesome offensive player I've ever seen. Listen, Michael and Kobe were better players from the guard standpoint, but as far as offensively, they couldn't shoot threes like him. They were not as great as dribbling the basketball, going to the basket, getting fouled. I mean, this guy, every time he goes to the basket, he's going to hit somebody and get 2 free throws. But we got to give that guy credit, man. He is an offensive machine. Right now,
Okay. A lot on it. Did he just compare? Go ahead.
Because I agree with Chuck.
That what?
I mean everything he said. He's about as unique, especially with what he's doing now. The position they're having him play, really like point guard, but his own way, like, is a very unique thing that we've not really seen anybody do what he's doing right now.
Okay, well, I don't disagree with that.
Wise, he's got MVP numbers. I know he missed some time. I know he caused some drama over in Houston, but I agree, man. He's crazy good.
Okay, but did you hear him call him the best player in the league?
Yeah, we need
clarification on that.
Here.
Yeah.
He might right now be the best player in the league.
Well, with LeBron James at home and Kevin Durant at home, sure. But I mean, in full disclosure of the league being completely normal, he called him the best player in the league, which is asinine. I mean,
I don't know if it's asinine.
It's completely asinine.
Would you put him in your top 3?
No.
You mean this season?
Yeah, this season. What his numbers this?
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would do that.
Yeah, he's not even the best player on his own team.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that.
So to call him the best player, and say, it's fine for me. The problem is Charles went too far. It's fine to say that James Harden is playing phenomenal right now, and with Kevin Durant at home and LeBron James at home, he's just the best player playing right now. That's I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. I'm completely fine with you saying even I disagree, but I'm even fine with you saying he should be the MVP, right? Because I don't think he should be the MVP for various reasons that you just named that we've talked about for the past couple of weeks. But to say that he is the best player in the world, and then to compare him to now, I've had this conversation with you, JT, about his offensive skill and him being an offensive powerhouse, which I agree with, right? And the Kobe and Jordan thing is not really far off for me, because I kind of said that we were talking about the competition between the competition that LeBron has faced and the competition that Jordan has faced, and I said name a guy who Jordan's faced where that's anywhere close to offensively the powerhouse that James Harden is. And JT looked at me like I had my head was cut off. And so that's what I was saying about his talent.
No. I looked at you like your head was cut off because you tried to tell me that James Harden was better than Michael Jordan offensively.
No.
And
I told you what Charles Barkley just said. Offensively, his weaponry is like nothing we ever seen. I said exactly what Charles Barkley just said but I was crazy when I said it.
No. That was not the same thing. It was exactly the same thing. Because he also just clearly said he's not better than either one of those guys. He's not better than Michael or Kobe.
I never said that James Harden was better than I said offensively, he has abilities that neither Michael or Kobe had. I said the same thing.
He just has more. He has more ammo. He has more guns and ammo. I said the same thing. Arsenal.
Yeah, he's got different skills that they did not have, but it could be a debate.
But the way he utilizes those weapons, aren't in the same as one Michael Jordan or Kobe would as well. Yeah, you got to think about it. When you put Kobe. Yeah, it's like when you put Kobe on team, you put Kobe on a team, and you put MJ on the team, or you put LeBron on the team. Different things happen.
Period.
You put James Harden on the team. You put James Harden on the team. Yes, he's going to cook you. He's going to average triple double. His offense is going to look crazy.
Guess where he's not going to the finals. He's not.
He's not going to the finals.
He's not.
That's the difference.
So that's why I think that's why I call it asinine, because when you talk about those guys would at least take teams with half the talent that James Harden has played on.
That's a fact.
And do a lot more and have done a lot more, right? And so now, because he goes to the Nets and he got a green light to the basket, and he could do all these. He got a bunch of 3-point shooters around him. He's in the category of a LeBron James or Kevin Durant. That's asinine. That's crazy to me. Not to mention that there's a whole another side of the game of basketball called defense, which James Harden has never ever been known to play. So for us to sit here and act like like because he can do 30 and 15, he's the greatest player in the world. It's crazy. Like, what happened?
Yeah, that's always been my big knock on him, is that he's really, really bad defensively.
He's gotten better. He's gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I shouldn't say he's bad anymore, but he's not great. He's definitely not a great.
No,
you got
to to be honest. Yeah, like, and to be honest, to your point, you see, Kyrie, we can be having the same conversation about Kyrie if he had the green light to shoot the ball. Like, right. I mean, it's Kyrie.
If he was healthy, if he was there,
spectacular.
Right.
But these are guys who, yes, they are amazing, but they're in their own. That's why they resent They max out on their game. I don't think people understand it. Yes. These guys, they be maxing out, right? And they're still yet to produce the level of things that those, players like LeBron and, your Kobe. And this is why you're having a different conversation about those guys.
Yes.
Than you would about not that they're not great and unbelievable, especially for our generation to have seen it like in person is ridiculous. But it's levels, man. It's levels
to it. It's levels to it. And I think we can't be prisoner of the moment when we talking about James Harden. He's playing amazing right now. Their situation is he's not even the best player on his own team. Let's not. Everybody is out of sight, out of mind. Like Kevin Durant is not. Like, what's happening? Like, what are we talking about? But somehow James Harden is the best player in the NBA. But he's the third option on his team. Like, for real. Like, if that's what he's the third option on his team. So it's just like this is guys. Like, slow down. Everybody just slow down.
Yeah, can't be a prisoner to the moment, man.
We can't be prisoner of the moment. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of what's been going on in the National Football League. A lot of news going on with your Niners, JT, and my Eagles. Actually just was in a little bit of a trade. Good for you, not good for me. I didn't like it. So let's pull it up. The Niners trade up to the 3rd pick. And the Eagles trade back to the 12th pick, giving the Dolphins the 6th pick. The Dolphins also get the 12th pick and a 3rd round pick, 2022 and 2023 first round picks. JT, I mean, for you, JT, I think, obviously, if you're a Niners fan, I would think you would be ecstatic about about moving up to 3, because they're saying that you guys are rumored to draft Zach Wilson at this point.
Yes.
So I would assume that would be exciting for you. For us as Eagles fans, I was pissed off about this trade. Was I the only one, or did you feel the same way?
Yeah. No, you well, I'll just throw in my tidbit. I'm stoked about it. And the Niners, man, John Lynch makes great moves. He's a phenomenal GM. I mean, you really ask for a better GM. But I was talking to Davini about this earlier, the Eagles moves, and it's just continues to, I mean, maybe they've got some plan that we don't know about, some genius plan, and it's going to change the organization and change
I don't know about that
team, but right now it doesn't look good
at all. What did you think about this trade?
Well, I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's unfortunate.
But exactly. So I do not mind the Eagles making stupid decisions.
This was dumb.
Or I don't mind that. Like I like to see. This is why I'm not an Eagles. Well, it's not necessarily why, but that's the partially why. Same with the Sixers, man. Like when AI was playing for the 76ers, I was diehard 70. And not that I'm a bandwagon guy, but they made so many bad decisions in the front office that I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. With the Eagles, I think, solid. I mean, they've been a solid team, but in comparison to to your point, the level of front offices that a lot of these other teams have, and I think what they've built at a lot of these other organizations, the Eagles, I don't see them really doing too much, this year to come. I just don't see it.
This was disappointing for me because you decided to commit to Jalen Hurts, which is great, and I was all for that. But then my issue is we have a chance to put some talent around him. So wow, we had the 6th pick. Let's do that. Let's put some talent around him. They're talking about 2 or 3 guys that are supposed to be can't miss guys, right? These are guys that there's always a couple of them in almost every draft where you're like all the pundits and the experts are like, no, that guy, like draft that guy. He's the can't miss guy. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner, and the tight end who I'm missing his I'm missing on his name. I can't remember. But there were 2 or 3 guys that would be big pickups for us, especially because we have no wide receiver help, like 0. Like no quarterback is going to succeed when he has nobody to throw to. So for me, you set your very young quarterback up for failure when you have the 6th pick and a chance to get a life-changing wide receiver or tight end, and then you go, nah, we'll go back to 12. This just reeks of DK Metcalf all over again. This reeks of Justin Jefferson all over again, who we passed up. And we have a long line of guys where we can look at. The list is nauseating, or I would talk about it, but I can't. I literally physically don't want to. I can't. The list of guys who are future Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers from the past 6 or 7 years that we've passed on, or we've made piss poor decisions and not to go after in trades or whatever. So this just, I saw this come across and I was just like, it's happening all over again. Like this guy, Devontae Smith's going to be DK Metcalf or Justin Jefferson or somebody, or Megatron or somebody like that. And we're going to have passed up for him. So, but for the Niners, it looks like you guys are moving on for Jimmy G.
Thank God. I love porn star Jimmy, but we need something else.
Yeah. So apparently the Ravens are interested in signing Antonio Brown. Good decision or bad decision?
I'm always going to say it's good. I'm sorry, man. I get it. I get what he brings. I get he's a he brings all type of bad press, and you're taking a risk, on one side, but
yeah,
it's Antonio Brown at the end of the day. So it's almost like playing just playing with like scarce odds almost, but that the upside, like the win in that situation is really valuable. But also, you can also risk bringing in contention and different things of that nature to the locker room and potentially like messing up some type of cohesiveness or whatever you have built there. But I don't know, man. I for the Ravens, I think they've had cases like that before in the past, and so I think they can probably deal with it. I think it's a good. It's Antonio Brown. This dude is too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that they probably just had to do it. You gotta take a risk. They're trying to get over the hump. But I think with those situations, like we've seen before, like you can bring a Dennis Rodman into Chicago with Michael Jordan in the locker room.
Right. That's what I was gonna say, JT.
You can bring a guy. You can bring Ron Artest to the Lakers when they got Kobe. You can bring a guy to LeBron when he's running the show and he's running the locker room. You can bring Antonio Brown to Tampa Bay when they've got Tom Brady, who by all accounts
lived with him. They lived together.
Right. Like he's everybody. If you've got a guy that everybody respects, no matter what, he can keep everybody in line. Right. But you get him over there, who's the leader that's going to he's going to respect enough to kind of like keep the ego in check and keep the behavior in check. It might work fine. I would like to think he's learned his lesson regardless. Right. Like you were out of the league. Yes. You probably wouldn't even got an opportunity if Tom Brady himself wasn't the dude that wanted you.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's got it together. But he had that last chance before Tom Brady, right? Before that happened, and he blew it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, obviously the dude's got some issues, but he's with the Ravens, and the Ravens have some talent. He could definitely help them. So we'll see.
Yeah, he can definitely help them. It would be an interesting move for them. I think they don't throw the ball that much. So I don't know how happy he would be. But then again, it's like chicken or the egg. Maybe they would throw the ball more if they had Antonio Brown.
Yes, they would. Throw the ball a lot more. That's a fact.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. The NFL officially announced a 17th game for this upcoming season. Do you guys think that is gonna make a difference or move the needle in any way? Like, I think for fans, I'm down. I mean, some people have like strong. Yeah, I mean, some people have like strong feelings about it, and I'm just like, another game to watch. Why not? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, especially nowadays when the era we're living in today, like I don't think it moves the needle too much forward or too much behind. I think it's just like, an extra game. At least that's what it would feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's not a. I know the players took issue with it, and some of them, but they had to vote on it and they had to agree in the CBA with it. So I mean, it just is what it is at this point. But I'm down. Like, y'all want to pack on some more football games? Like, I don't know any football fans who are like, nah, we don't want to see more football.
Right.
It's just that it doesn't, Okay, so the NCAA tournament is almost down to the Final Four. Me and JT was deadlocked in an even tie for a while, but now it's I'm starting to drift away, as I expected, to win this thing. Okay, it's 50. It's 5:30 right now to 4:10. We'll check out the brackets real quick. We kind of have. We're not. I mean, with the last couple of teams, we're not too far away. We both have Gonzaga still in it, in the Elite Eight, except I have Baylor and JT didn't have Baylor, and I think that's what the difference in points were. But so far it's looking like Baylor and possibly, I think I had Baylor and Gonzaga going head to head.
Okay,
but Gonzaga looks good.
Gonzaga's tough, man. I think this is their year.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, with both of our college basketball expertise, I'm surprised our brackets weren't better.
Yeah, I'm like the least. I haven't watched enough college basketball this year, man. I'm behind it.
Man, we haven't any.
We haven't watched any. We literally haven't watched any.
I'm so behind.
It was a part of, it's a part of the conversation that's going on around, to me, like the young stars skipping college and going to, going to play overseas or going to play in the G League or whatever. There just wasn't like like I just looked up and it was like, oh, it's March Madness time. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, when in years past there was big names that you were hearing about.
Do you guys think that this COVID era affected that? Just considering, right? So when I'm at a big college, which has a lot more resources, just in general, the world has more resources available. So maybe there's different ways to kind of keep my head above water, during this process. And now guys are like, look, man, I just gotta go get the bread. I gotta go get the money. So do you guys think that has made, their decisions sway, differently now, considering? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think the NCAA is going to have a big problem on their hands if they don't figure out how to pay players, because everybody else is figuring it out.
Yeah, they're making so much money from these sports teams.
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous that they don't pay. Like, it's ridiculous that they don't pay them, man. The amount of money that I'm sure. I mean, I haven't looked it up, but I don't know if I know you guys are the experts. I wonder if we could calculate how much money an average, packed or packed or whatever in let's say NCAA basketball game makes. You know what I mean? As far as the fans,
I looked it up. I don't remember the numbers as far as individual games, but I looked up that that they're bringing in somewhere in the billions, somewhere around 2 or 3 something billion dollars or something like that.
The tricky thing with that, though, is that you've got, St. Mary's in San Francisco, and then you've got Duke, right? So you've got. So how do you regulate? Who makes more? Is it the program? Is it based on what and we've talked about that, Joe? Like,
yeah,
it seems like you would have just like a company, It would have to be
Right.
based on your entity or your
Right.
you is bringing in from that program.
Yeah.
And then does everybody on the Duke team make the same amount? Does the guy that comes, you know what I mean? So that seems to be where the challenge is going to be, because I think they will be soon getting paid something, but it's the divvying out of who's going to make what. You know, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, because that.
And is it going to be enough to like keep kids from going overseas for a year or going to the G League?
Mm-hmm. And then it's going, because that'll probably ultimately start swaying high school guys' decisions. Like, oh man, if I'm gonna make more at Duke, then I'm not going to Kentucky, or I'm not going here, whatever. And you start thinking about those things. And I'm sure that's a part of the conversation as to why, those little loopholes that you got to deal with it, I guess. But regardless, somebody needs to be getting something.
Yeah, because to me, for us to tout that in our education system, the level of college is supposed to prepare you for what? The real world, right?
Yeah, the real world. Yeah.
It's not in the real world, everybody don't get paid the same. In the real world, it's not a thing of if your company is only making $50,000 a year, somehow you making 45. That's not the real world. So if you play on the lacrosse team and the lacrosse team doesn't bring the university any money, you don't get any money. This is very basic math. Like, this is not hard stuff, right? So they can figure it out. This is not a hard thing to do. They can figure it out. And I think the most BS thing that I hear is that we got to pay attention to people's feelings about somebody not making more than another, because that's not the real world. And if college is supposed to prepare you for the real world, then that shouldn't be a factor of like, well, TJ makes more than Zion when he was at Duke. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Zion was the attraction. Yeah. Zion should definitely make more, because why not? As a number one draft pick, he makes more than the 10th guy on the bench. That's the real world, right?
Yeah, they really need to just somehow change the language. Because if you're a college basketball player, especially, I mean, really, if you're a D1 college basketball player, you're not an amateur athlete.
Right. You're just not
like an amateur athlete. You can't
even go get a job.
You're an adult and you're doing something that is making money for the organization or the entity that you are a part of. You're really a professional who's just not getting paid.
Yes.
So they absolutely need to figure it out, like way faster than they're figuring it out right now.
Yeah.
Because I wonder. I wonder if it would, and you guys can correct me if I'm taking out a term. Like, I wonder if there'd be a possibility to affect the brand, the NCAA brand itself. For example, if a lot of players are going to want to go here to make the money, well, you get what I'm saying? Like, will that make things a bit more lopsided, where now it's kind of like it's more equal to how good the program is, and you know what I mean, like different those things versus the monetary piece. Because will most players start to go, even though they still kind of do it now?
They still do it. They still do it now. And they're not getting paid. It's the reason why.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at look at women's basketball. Look at UConn women. They win a championship every year for 20 straight years. Why?
That's true.
They weren't paying anybody, right? So they still do it now, and there's a way to put a cap on it. Put a cap on it. Make sure, do it the same way you do the NBA or something like that, where you can only spend about this amount of money, each season or whatever, to prevent teams from trying to buy themselves a championship. You know what I mean? And so if you want to go there, you can be like the Nets, where you can go sign to the Nets. But if you're Lamarcus Aldridge, you're gonna make you're gonna make a better minimum, because you can't go there and make 15 million when Kevin Durant is making 40 and Kyrie is making 35 and James Harden is making 28, right? So put a cap on it. Like, there's a way to do it, and they can look at this. This is, like JT said, this is really a feeder league. This is not amateur. This is not amateur sports.
Yeah,
so sit down with the people from the sports that you're feeding these players into, and talk about the pay system and how to work it. You know what I mean? Because there's a way to do it.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny, the more, and I would have to sit back and really look at all the logistics of this, but the more we talk about it, the more I think they need to do it, just for the reasons of these kids need to get paid regardless, because of the amount of money that's being made.
Yeah.
The more I think about it though, I don't think it's going to change that much, because the kids, I mean, there's kids not playing their senior. I was just watching a video of one yesterday. I can't remember his name. Phenomenal player that I was watching video highlights of him. He's not playing. He didn't play his senior year because he didn't want to get hurt. And it was more, he didn't think it was going to hurt his draft stock to just sit out his senior year.
Yeah.
And just, because he's like, well, I'm going to the league anyway, or I'm doing this anyway. Like, he's not going to get a lack of scholarship offers. He's not going to get it's not going to hurt his stock. And that's crazy, because that's kind of unheard of based on what kids used to do. I think even if and when they start paying guys in the league, the guys that are going to go for more money overseas, which is still going to be more money, or go play in the G League for this big Jalen Green type of contract, they're still going to do it because college isn't going to be able to pay them enough. Right. And the guys that are still going to make the decision to whatever opportunities are going to come to brand yourself as a high school basketball player is still there. So I think the college game, however much it's going to suffer or not suffer, it's almost inevitable anyway. Right.
Yeah. I think I think the new avenues are opening up, and they're going to continue to be draws. I think the G League is going to continue to be a draw because A, they're paying, and then B, you're playing guys who are NBA guys, current NBA guys, former, guys that trying to get back to the league, or guys who are in between from overseas and the NBA. And so they can still train, they can still develop. They don't have to go to class, because the issue is that there's this there's this thing where in the NCAA, you're not allowed to get paid, but you also can't go get money somewhere else. Right. So at least if I'm in the G League, it eliminates that part where you tell me I got to be here, I got to go to school, I got to go do this and I got to do that, but I can't. But if I get a check from somebody for doing something, then I lose eligibility. So ridiculous. Like you said, JT, it's going to happen anyway, because they have a lot more issues than just paying players at this point, So we'll see how that goes out. Okay, let's hit this rapid fire and get on out of here on this. Knicks assistant Mike Woodson is finalizing a 6-year contract to become the coach of his alma mater, Indiana. I like Mike Woodson, so I think this is dope for him. And to see another black head coach get a prime college job, I think is dope. So
dope.
Yeah, that'll be dope. The New York launches the nation's first vaccine passports. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So basically what they're doing is, obviously, that if you haven't heard by now, the restrictions and guidelines for people who are vaccinated are you have more freedom when you're vaccinated, less restrictions and things like that. The CDC has encouraged certain places and certain freedoms with vaccinated people, and so a lot of the businesses and things are following suit with those guidelines. We already were talked about a couple of weeks ago. One of I think it was the Knicks, or was it the Hawks, who have a VIP section, and the VIP stands for like vaccinated important people or something like that, where it's a new section for just vaccinated people, and they get like their own freedoms, and they could be in there without masks and whatever. And so what New York is doing is launching a program where you can have your vaccination proof in an electric system, where you can show it as if you were to go to the airport and show your passport or show whatever. You can go and you can show it to it'll be like your little key card, like your little fob or whatever, that you can go to the venue or wherever, you'll scan your code or whatever, it'll say that you're vaccinated, and then you can go participate in whatever those vaccinated freedoms are. So that's pretty much what it is.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a new way. I think they're the first, but I think we'll see that a lot more, especially in sporting events. They were talking about being able to do full-fledged sporting events without a certain percentage, and then using stuff like this. I know guys in Silicon Valley are working on a way. I think the Warriors, I heard, are working on a way to do something with vaccination, but also test everybody, do like these quick flash tests, and fill the stadium. So as you come in, they can sell the stadium out, and then they're testing you for COVID. And somehow it's like a quick test where they can literally like a prick of the finger or something, or a swab, put you in, you're clean, and then you can go in. And if you're not, you got to go home. So they figuring it out. We'll be, it's looking like we're getting to the end of this apocalypse.
Yeah. Roger Goodell, Davini was saying earlier, Roger Goodell expects to be full pack stadiums this season for the NFL.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a bit of the the vaccination passports and then a bit of the testing thing. I think there's going to be some type of combination. We talked about how Holyfield came out the other week and said that Mike Tyson turned down the $25 million purse to fight him. Well, Mike Tyson responded. He had something to say, and he got on the live and responded. And here's what he said.
I just want everybody to know, the fight is on with me and Holyfield. And Holyfield's a humble man. I know that. And he's a man of God, but I'm God's man. And I'm going to be successful May 29th.
Okay, so the fight is happening.
Mike looks a little older there. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
He aging by the day, man. And he just got he fighting, so he gonna age even faster. You know what I mean?
I love this podcast, by the way. The Smoke Box is pretty dope.
Oh, that's what that was. His podcast. Yeah. I saw the one with him and Bootsy, which was hilarious. Like, it was too fun. It was too much going on in that podcast. Way too much going on. But yeah, so the fight is on. I think it's May 29th. I think if I'm not misquoting.
I'm out the loop on that one. I think Holyfield would win.
Really?
Yeah. I think Holyfield.
But Mike's the one that's been fighting.
Yeah, Holyfield stays in shape though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he stays in shape.
But in shape, I stay in shape. But then shape is different from fight shape. I can't go 12 rounds with somebody right now.
Yeah, I gotta see what type of shape Holyfield's in, and he's got way more wear and tear because he fought into like his 50s.
Yeah.
Tyson kind of has had a bunch of years off, and now he's back into it. He's rejuvenated. It'd be interesting to see.
It's gonna be interesting because him and Roy Jones look like two beanbags out there.
But he also, you also noticed that he could have knocked Roy out, and you could tell that they made some type of backstage
agreement or something.
Like, we won't knock each other out, because he could have ended that. I was pissed that he didn't.
Nah, he can't. That was more of a chair. He couldn't do that, man. He couldn't do that.
Tyson and Evander are going to be on all the performance-enhancing old man drugs.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Be ready to.
They're going to be super juiced up. Yes, they are.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I'm here for it too, man. All the way.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. The report is that the Warriors and Celtics are interested in signing DeMarcus Cousins. How you feel about that, JT?
I think I don't know. I don't even know how I feel about DeMarcus Cousins anymore. We've had him. You
need a big body. You need some depth. I think why not?
Obviously, I think the move would be. I'm assuming the move would be to prepare for next, because Warriors want to prepare for next year. They want Clay back, and they want to be ready to go. They're thinking about maybe even keeping Oubre and have him coming off the bench, which would be a great move. So they're already thinking about next year. There's talk that they might even start tanking to try to get another top pick this year because Steph's out. So we'll see. I don't think he moves the needle that much, but come playoffs, the same thing with Blake Griffin and Aldridge. He brings experience, size, some skills, whatever. Boogie, come on back.
Lamar Odom is set to fight former pop singer Aaron Carter in a boxing match. So this is we gonna get these celebrity matches, and Mike Tyson opened the door for him, so we gonna see more of them. We saw Nate Robinson get his head knocked off, and
that was crazy.
We're gonna see some more. This gonna keep crazy. Gonna keep going, and so listen. I'm here for it. Why not? We're not getting the other fights that we want. We're not getting the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury again, and we're
never getting that again.
So now what? Now we got to watch Lamar Odom fight Aaron Carter.
That's ridiculous. Dude, you know what was crazy about the Jake Paul Nate Robinson fight is that Nate Robinson's my height. He's 5'10", and Jake Paul's like 6'2". Like, he's a big dude.
Jake Paul is a big guy.
So Lamar Odom is like 7 feet tall.
Yeah. And
Aaron Carter, I don't know, but I'm assuming he's about my size. And that's not right.
Floyd fought the Big Show.
He did.
Floyd
from wrestling.
Yeah, Floyd boxed the Big Show. It was like a wrestling sled. Yeah, you got to Google it, yo.
I don't remember that.
Floyd was in there.
Floyd will go get a check. I mean, he bought Conor McGregor too.
He went to the WWF, like he was on there in the ring, and he had his boxing gear. Remember, he fought the Big Show.
Speaking of which, Joe, you and I were at Todd's when we watched Ngannou lose to Stipe, right, in UFC. You know, Ngannou just knocked him out.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, like knocked him old. So Ngannou, heavyweight champ, and he's scary, dude. Nobody's beating that guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be knocking a whole lot of people out for a while.
He's scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Have you guys heard about this guy, Kevin Samuels?
No. I have. Yeah.
Okay, so so I don't know a lot about him, but he has a history of going viral for things that he says to women that call him on his live show for advice. And this last one that I saw took the cake. Here's a little clip of their conversation.
That being said, there should be rules, regulations when you.
Well, let's start out with the first rules. Let's start with the first rules. How tall are you?
How tall am I? I am 5'8".
Dress size?
16.
All right, you broke the first rule right there.
But
okay, how much do you weigh?
Every time.
220.
I weigh 210 and I'm 6'4". You broke the first rule. See, you ladies don't mind breaking the rules. The men are visual. The men want women that are fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. I don't mind being the size of, I'm sorry, you're 5'8"?
I'm 5'8".
You're about the size of Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders was. You're running back size.
Okay.
You can hit the A-gap like a motherfucker.
Yeah. I accept
So don't
that.
come in here talk about what men should not be able to do when they got to accept somebody who can run out the power I.
Yo.
I accept that.
But she said, I accept that. First of all, he called her a linebacker, yo. He called her a running back.
Yeah. That's harsh.
A girl I dated actually put me on to him. She said, "Hey, you ever heard of this guy named Kevin Samuel?" I'm like, no. I was like, what about him? So she started telling me about his video. I was like, I think I saw him around, but I paid attention. So I was like, let me click on this guy and see what he has to say. So I watched a few of his video. I just sat there and watched one of his entire things, and dude is hilarious. But what's more hilarious is the people that the women and men, they're dudes. They're actually guys who subscribe to. They pay, they donate and shit like that. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like a weird kind of thing he has going on. But the people who listen to this shit is more interesting to me than him. He's just a character. He's just come on.
The way he aired her out, and he said, you built like Emmitt Smith, and she said, I accept that. That was wow.
Because he's a character at this point. He has a brand, you know what I mean? So they think that this dude is on a pedestal. Well, he's good with words and all of that good stuff. That's all.
Yeah, he be airing people out.
He do, man. It's funny.
His videos are hilarious, and then he hit it with the hike at the end of it. It was
because I can't be mad if you're gonna let a dude
air you out.
Actually, you called him, and most of the time he'll say that he's like, "Listen, you called me. I'm not the one." And so I was like, I can't feel bad for you, kind of, sort of, because you chose this.
Yeah, you chose this. This is what you wanted. I'm gonna give it to you. Here we are.
Right.
Man. James Frager, thanks so much for joining the show today, man. Please do the people a favor and tell them where they can follow and support anything that you got coming up soon.
Man, you guys can follow me. Actually, so HSOL. Which stands for Healing Style of Life. That's actually coming next. I'm going to revert my Jay's Vegan Flavors page over into HSOL. Basically, we're just going to merge the two with our business. So look forward to that page coming. Look forward to our website coming. We're going to be doing amazing things when it comes to travel, when it comes to services and merchandise and different things of that nature. On a holistic side, it's everything healing style of life, man. So look forward to that. Music actually coming from Jay Frager will definitely be on a table. I'm feeling inspired again. I'm feeling artistic. When I take my walks, I'm starting to write again. Talked to Boots the other day.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like, yo, Boots, you know, we got some unfinished business, man.
Straight
So
up.
for sure. So Boots get ready to move to Nashville, I think. I know he just was touring with he was playing with Cardi B or something like that. Recently, but me and Boots get ready to get back in the studio, and so look forward to some music. And hey, man, just live life, man. I'm all about living life. I'm at the age now where whatever makes you happy, do that shit, man. As long as you're making other people feel good, you're making yourself feel good. Go for it. Stay positive. Stay motivated. Just stay peaceful. You know what I'm saying?
Dope. I'm excited for that for Boots and James reunion. I think that's gonna be dope. Okay, Ooh. I'm at Joe Connor 33 on everything. Make sure that you like and subscribe to us on YouTube and turn your notifications so you know when we are putting out a video. Continue to check out my Splice Pack. My Splice Pack is the Lo-Fi Philly Pack on Splice. Let me know how you like it. Let me know if you don't like it, whatever. Just check it out and download if you can, as well as go subscribe to me and the fiance's YouTube page. It's Joe and Czar. We was just talking about the Derek Jackson thing that happened on there. We gonna get into some different stuff because that thing was hilarious. And we are obviously reviewing the last couple episodes of Married at First Sight. So if you watch those shows and you got some other shows that you want us to check out and review, let me know. We've been growing, so it's been dope and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you guys who listen, who actually also follow us on the Joe and Czar page.
I'll put my links in the. I'll put my links in the bio.
At JT Harker for everything. Latest single, She's a Fire, still out, obviously doing well. I'm really happy with it. Thank you everybody for supporting it. And we've got a few more coming your way. I got to talk to Mr. Connor here about maybe doing a video at one of our favorite places in San Diego. Getting some funding for some stuff.
San Diego.
Big things coming. Really excited about the next batch of songs too that we got coming you guys' way. So thank you for the support. And yeah, man, with the Backstage Sports, go like, subscribe, everything, man. Are we officially a year in now, Joe?
Man, I think we might be. We started
almost.
Did we start March of last year?
I think it was April. I think the first or second.
So we coming up on it.
We're almost there.
That's dope. Congrats, man. That's dope.
Yeah. We coming up on this, so we gotta do something for that. I don't know what we should do, but we probably need to do another happy hour because the last happy hour we did was hilarious. Okay,
definitely invite me to that.
All right, please. Yeah, we got you.
Look, I got my party light. Like, y'all didn't see the party
it's getting lit. We getting lit then. So, there we go.
It's levels. It's levels.
It's definitely levels to it. And by the end of the stream, me and JT was pretty much no good that day. That was a fun day. So we'll let you know. We'll do something special for the anniversary. Thank you guys for watching. There we go. Cheers to that. So he's gonna get started. He started. Okay, so thank you guys for watching and listening. This has been another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. Until next time, be safe and be great. Peace.